It was always at night, like a werewolf, that I would take the thing out for an honest run down the coast. The edge. There is no honest way to explain it, because the only people who really know where it is are the ones who have gone over. Take a walk on the wild side.
At the start, I think it was more to get a message out, knowing that defeat was certain. The serious component of Hunter's campaign snowballed, and as the movement gained momentum, I think Hunter actually believed that he had a chance. And a lot of us that were supporting Hunter shared that belief.
I told you I'd cure your rotten image in the Commonwealth, and here it comes in spades. By the time Christmas rolls around, you will be the second most worshipped and internationally celebrated Kentuckian since Muhammad Ali.
We're trying to get together a list of endorsement for Hunter Thompson for sheriff.
We were all freaks, the people who came together.
The bike rider is Cliff Workman, treasurer of the Hells Angels. He's here to challenge his biographer, a tense young literary journalist named Hunter Thompson.
What did you think of the book?
Well, I'll tell you, Al and Hunter, everybody in this room, that book is 60% cheap trash. This is what happened. Junkie George was beating his old lady.
Junkie George?
In support of Hunter, but I think our biggest issue at the time was the environment, and a secondary issue was the illegal status of drugs.
What is that, Rick?
This is what I believe to be marijuana.
I desperately wanted to put an end to that senseless war. I'm sick and tired of old men dreaming up wars for young men to die in.
Their papers in the New York Times, Washington Post, but overall the American journalism, I think, was cowed, has been cowed and intimidated by this massive flag sucking, this patriotic orgy that the White House keeps whipping up.
Junkie George's dog bit him, right? This is a personal feud. If a guy wants to beat his wife and his dog bites him, that's between the three of them.
But there was somebody about 30 feet to my left beating his wife to a pulp on the rocks.
Now, if he'd been beating her that bad, somebody would have stopped him.
Oh, no, don't. You're kidding me and you're going to kid everybody else. Nobody stopped him, and you know he beat his wife up. You just said it, right?
You walked right up to him and you said, only a punk beats his wife and dog.
You finished.
And he said, Hunter, you want some of this? And you said no. But you got it anyways. And when he hit you, 3 or 4 others of them hit you too.
We let him beat him up for a minute, and then we broke it up and told him to get out of here, and he left, got in his car, went. He says that he went to the police station all bloodied up, and they threw him out.
You know, if you criticize the president, it's unpatriotic and there's something wrong with you, you may be a terrorist. And I've been raving against this from the very beginning, but I don't have much of a constant national platform now because I've been working on this book, Kingdom of Fear, which is really describes what's going on over here, the Kingdom of Fear.
I told you I'd cure your rotten image in the Commonwealth, and here it comes in spades. By the time Christmas rolls around, you will be the second most worshipped and internationally celebrated Kentuckian since Muhammad Ali.
He was a reporter with a wild imagination.
He was not afraid to express himself in sometimes shocking ways.
I'm not at all embarrassed at the use of the word freak.
It's just sort of a herd mentality, a lemming-like mentality. If you don't go with the flow, you're anti-American and therefore a suspect. And we've seen this before, these patriotic frenzies. And wartime, they declare, it's very convenient having an undeclared war that you can call a war and impose military tribunals and wartime security. And then we got these generals telling us that this war is going to go on for a long, long time.
Las Vegas. It starts off like a rocket. That was mad genius.
Ralph, when he first met Hunter, he'd never done any drugs. He loses it.
Hunter always had to have a running crisis.
Come over, I'm going to kill somebody. Maybe it's not so much the generals now. The generals are a little afraid to invade Iraq, a little worried about it. But it's the civilians in the White House, this gang of thieving, just lobbyists for the military-industrial complex who are running the White House. And to be against them is to be patriotic, then hell, call me a traitor.
Do I need to remind you that we are colonels of the dark and bloody ground?
I think he was important in a literary way and also in a political way.
Hunter was in Chicago, right in the midst of the gas and the beatings.
I came with the idea that he should move to Washington, become a full-time correspondent.
When he showed up at the campaign, no one knew who he was until he started publishing. Then all hell broke loose.
Marijuana laws are one of the reasons that has engendered this lack of respect that that cops complain about all over the country. When you get a whole generation that grows up as felons, and they know the law is ridiculous, and they're told all this gibberish about it, it drives you crazy and makes your brain soft and your feet fall off. And, even the police know it's a silly law. It's time that we either bridge that chasm with some kind of realistic law enforcement, or else I don't think it's going to be bridged.
Hunter saw guns as one of the great things in life.
He liked the noise and the violence and the destruction.
There we go, self-censorship, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I would say that. Now, there are always exceptions to that, but there have been damn few. Maureen Dowd, the New York Times, I'm trying to think who else, not that many have come to mind. And you know, it's that corporate mentality of, well, what will the advertisers think? You know, in the Times against the president, therefore we won't advertise in it. That corporate kind of, we're all in this together thinking. So, yeah, the publishers have always been Republicans, and the working press, usually Democratic, the smarter part of them. But not even the Democrats have been very strong on this, not strong enough to...
Some people will say that words like scum and rotten are wrong for objective journalism, which is true, but they miss the point.
He described me as a half-crazed Davy Crockett running around the parapets of Nixon's Alamo.
Well, it goes a little deeper than that, because this administration is well on the road to seizing power. Tom Daschle, the Senate Democratic leader, the other day accused Bush of trying to seize dictatorial powers. Now, that was a big breakthrough, and I'm starting to sense that the tide may be turning against the president. We have to beat this bastard one way or another, and the easiest way to do it is vote. I mean, we don't have to use terrorism to beat a little fart like that. Just voting is should be sufficient.
My face looked like it had been jammed into the spokes of a speeding Harley, and the only thing keeping me awake was the spastic pain of a broken rib. Do I need to remind you that we are colonels of the dark and bloody ground?
And I have a sense that there is a kind of a flag of courage of some sort, courage to disagree with the government.
Hunter's pieces were a hybrid of very accurate reportage and sometimes flat-out fantasy.
And ended up on the wire as a straight story.
You finally said, well, you made it all up.
I couldn't believe that people really believed that Muskie was eating Ibogaine. I never said he was. I said there was a rumor in Milwaukee that he was, which was true, and I started the rumor in Milwaukee.
Of the whole...
The American government is the greatest enemy of freedom around the world that I can think of. And we keep waving that flag, freedom. And, yeah, these people are flag
I need
suckers.
to remind you that we are colonels of the dark and bloody ground?
I think he captured certain truths about human perversity. I don't think that anybody can be surprised that we find ourselves in the nightmare we're in today because it's the same as the nightmare he described back then.
He could have wielded a pretty effective sword against what's going on right now.
He had this purity of vision.
Will the real Hunter Thompson please stand up?
I told you I'd cure your rotten image in the Commonwealth, and here it comes in spades. By the time Christmas rolls around, you will be the second most worshipped and internationally celebrated Kentuckian since Muhammad Ali. I wanted something original, but there was no escaping the echo of Mr. Kurtz's final words from the heart of darkness. The horror. The horror. Exterminate all the brutes.